Good afternoon and welcome to FlossTube number 37. My name is Christine. It is November 11th, 2019. I am CMD as in Cat Mother Dog 586 on Instagram, so follow me there if you aren't already. And sorry, it's been a while. It's been about 6 weeks. I actually meant to come back a couple of weeks ago, but you know, I've had a little bit of low motivation lately. I think early to mid-October, I'm better now, but early to mid-October, I had like just kind of an anxious time. There were some things I was worried about, and when I get really worried about stuff or really anxious about stuff, I get unmotivated. I end up doing things like wasting time. Like I don't end up doing the things I want to do, which are cross-stitching, crocheting, board gaming, reading, making FlossTube videos, cooking, etc. And then I end up doing like basically stupid escapist stuff, like playing stupid games on my phone and that sort of thing. Cross-stitching generally, one of the reasons I stitch every day is it kind of keeps my brain in a good place. Like it keeps me from like dwelling too much on worry, on like getting into like these loops of anxiety and worrying about things that I can't do anything about, etc. And but when I get worried or upset about something, things that I want to do, like productive things like cross-stitching, kind of tend to go by the wayside, and I end up wasting time and doing stupid stuff. And so the first few weeks of October, like I didn't stitch every day, which is unusual for me. Generally speaking, I stitch every day, and occasionally I'll have a day where I don't stitch at all. But that's pretty abnormal for me to not stitch every day. And not only was I not stitching every day, I wasn't even crocheting every day or reading every day. I mean, some days I was just kind of like watching TV and doing stupid stuff on my phone, basically. So, but you know, everything's okay. Some of the things that I was worried about have resolved themselves, and you know, and I'm back, and I have I have some progress to show, and I have several items I worked on, and a new start, and I have a crochet finish, and I read several books, and I have a drawing to do, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about Alaska. So, and I have a little bit of haul. So, let's just get started. I'm going to start, and you can see, and there's no echo, I have moved from the emptiest room in the house to the most full room in the house. Currently, I am in my son's room. It doesn't look like my son's room will look when he's coming home for Christmas, which is nice. We have his plane ticket, so right now there's no room for him in here. But there will be. All the stuff is kind of temporarily shoved in here because the room I was in, we are now working on painting it, and so it's empty and there's plastic all over the floor, and we're working on painting it. And then, because we have 3 main bedrooms in this house, and then we have one room that is kind of a bonus room. It's pretty small for a bedroom, but could be considered a bedroom. But that room is like, we've got a television set up in there, and it's kind of like a home theater room. And but this is my son's room, and then we have our bedroom, which is behind us. And then we have the room that I've been doing FlossTube in and playing board games in and stuff like that. And that room, my husband wants to move our bedroom into that room and move the board gaming, etc. room into the room that we are currently sleeping in. And so ultimately I'll be doing FlossTubes in there, most likely. Although since my son, and then this will be still my son's room, sort of. We're not super concerned about keeping it like a shrine to him or anything like that, but we want him to have a place that he can sleep in and feel comfortable in. So ultimately all this stuff will, before he comes home in like 6 weeks for 3 weeks, most of this stuff will be out of here, and there will be room for his bed and for him to do what he wants to do and stuff like that. So And Anyway, so we're in flux. So the next few FlossTube videos, who knows where they'll be? But today they're in a non-echoey room, and so you can see board games, and behind me that's my board game shelf, and then like my son's manga and other books and stuff like that. So we're in a cluttery room right now. Anyway, let me start with the haul. I didn't buy very much. I bought something from Bendy Stitchy, and forgive me if I bought something from you and I'm not showing it. I tried to gather all the haul, but it's been several weeks, and I am not 100% sure that I've got it all. But I got a couple of things I really wanted to share. So at least, so I bought this from Bendy Stitchy. It is a panna kit, which I've been long meaning to try a panna kit. So I got this from Bendy Stitchy, and it's not a very big kit, and it comes with even weave. Like, it looks kind of nice. I haven't actually opened it, but I can see that the fabric looks nice. It looks like even weave. Is there English? Yes. Kit contains Linda fabric. I think it's a 27 count. I could be wrong, but that's how I read that. A cross-stitch needle, gamma stranded cotton and metallic threads on an organizer, color chart, and instructions. So it includes all the threads and everything you need to make this. And I like this design. So got that from Bendy. I had ordered something from Pamela Hoover McIntosh. Right now, if you go to her Facebook group, she still has some things on there. She is currently on vacation, and I believe now for the next few days, everything that she has listed is 50% off. She's on vacation, so she's not going to be, like, I think she's on a cruise, so she's not going to be responding, but if you claim stuff on her site, when she gets back, she'll contact you, and it's all 50% off. And there's somebody on there who likes the stuff that I like, and basically she bought up all the things that I would have gone ahead and gotten at 50% off. But that's okay. It just saves me from getting more things. But I did get, nevertheless, a while back I ordered something from Pamela Hoover McIntosh, and I got those things. I ordered this gingerbread house on perforated paper. I think that's perforated paper and not perforated paper. Yes, good. I was hoping it wasn't plastic canvas. Perforated paper, gingerbread house on perforated paper by Astor Place. I like working on perforated paper, so it'd be fun to make it as a little Christmas decoration. I think it's cute. A Victoria's sampler with the embellishment packs, so everything you need except the fabric, for Harbor Village. I love this. I need to start doing some more Victoria's sampler because I have enough of them. I've only done 2 of them, and I have quite a few of them now, but I need to not start anything new. Currently, if my count is correct, I'm currently at 49 WIPS. So, because I started something. She also sent me some floss. It just looks a little different, but it does look like it's DMC. Some floss. Not really, I don't think it goes with anything, but she always sends me some free stuff, so I'll add this to my stash. And then for free, she sent me this, which, is not my thing. This will probably go into a giveaway pile eventually. So, the time of our time. This is just not for me. This is a little too prim in a way that doesn't do anything for me. So that will go into the pile for an eventual giveaway. And then, Amy Jones sent me something. Gable Stitcher. She contacted me. She contacted me on Instagram, and she said she knew I liked Just Nan, and she said she had a few Just Nan patterns that she knew she was never going to stitch, and would I like them? And I said, of course. and she sent me much more than I expected her to send me, and she sent me a nice card to go with it, which I won't read. But yeah, I just, you know, it's just so special to me when somebody thinks of me and wants to send me something. That's just it's lovely to be thought of. So thank you, Amy. And she and I have a lot in common. She sent me more than Just Nan. She sent me several Just Nans, and she sent me some Rosewood Manor, who is also another one of my favorites, and she sent me some Victoria Sampler, because I don't have enough Victoria Sampler in my life, apparently. So let me just show you what she sent me. And most of this I really like. I mean, I really like all of it, but one or two of them I might not actually stitch. I'm going to hang on to everything for a while, and if I get to a point where I'm like, I know I'm not going to stitch something, then I will pass it on, which is, of course, fine by her. But let me show you what she sent me. So, Jolly Old Elf, Whimsy Ornament, Just Nan. It's a cute little Santa ornament. He's sweet. Let's see, this is another Just Nan, Happy Bluebird. This would make a cute little pillow. Sweet. Like a little pin cushion or something. That would be cute. I just love Just Nan. I need to stitch some Just Nan. But again, I'm trying to like knock my whips down, right? So, and I'm not doing very well at that. But I don't have 50. I only have 49. Okay. Needle Story. Also by Just Nan. This is really neat. I like that thing up there in the top, which I would have to try to find it or something else that works. What does it say? It says, the needle is a traveler. The needle is a laborer. The needle is a sorcerer. The needle is a friend. I really like that sentiment. Yeah. There it is. Needle Story. I'll go through all the Just Nans. Strawberry Sampler. Okay, I really love this. And this one comes with the embellishments, so that's nice. Strawberry Sampler. So I don't have to try to hunt anything down. At least not in terms of beads and embellishments. I'm sure that, oh yeah, it uses a lot of like silks and stuff like that. I mean, there's DMC conversions. But the Just Nans always use a lot of special stuff. Let's see, is that all the Just Nan? Nope, that is not all the Just Nan. Amethyst, ooh, I love this. Amethyst Snowflake. That's very pretty. And this is the kind of thing that my mother would really like. I mean, I think it's very pretty, and I would love doing it. Oh, it's pretty. Like, I look at this, and this looks like a lovely gift for my mother. She loves, like, lavender and stuff like that. And, oh no, this isn't Just Nan. This is somebody, I don't think I've ever had a Patricia Ann. But this is Patricia Ann Designs A Secret Garden. A secret garden full of flowers, the perfect place to relax for hours. A band sampler. And I love band samplers. There is something about band samplers. I think Well, they feel like they go quickly, but I think that's because, I mean, and sometimes they do. They're not huge, generally, not huge. But I think it's because you just take it a band at a time, and each band is like, you know, a little finish on its own, and you feel accomplished. But I love band samplers. I need to do more band samplers because I just love them. I have plenty of them, so no reason not to. Okay, then she sent me 3 Victoria samplers. One is Lilac Chatelaine sampler. There's some intimidating stuff in that. So some of the Victoria sampler things I have, I need to do some learning before I attempt them. And this, I think, is one of them. Yeah. But I like that though. And then this one is Lavender Hearts sampler, and the same is true of this one. It's the cut work that is intimidating for me. I have done a tiny amount of it. I need to do more of it because it's scary, and it's still scary to me, even though I've done a small amount and had some success with it. It's still too scary for me when I see a lot of that in a design. It's like, nope, I gotta set that aside for a while. And then this, I almost ordered this off of some site, maybe off of Pamela Hoover McIntosh's Stitcher's Paradise on Facebook. But this is the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, a bell pull for each season. And I really like those. And I almost ordered these, and then I didn't, but now I have them thanks to a lovely gift from Amy. And then she sent me a Rosewood Manor, and I have sung the praises of Rosewood Manor many a time, and I love Rosewood Manor. This is Oh Christmas Tree, and it's the song, and it looks like, well, here it is. It's the song, and there are some specialty stitches, which I love, and the main sampler, and then there is that, and then there's another ornament that is sort of a small version of that, basically. I don't think there's a picture of it in here other than the pattern. So there's and then there's another ornament. So there's actually, they show you this one, but there's like 2 more ornaments you can make. So there's like 3 ornaments in here. Anyway, I love it all. It's possible I wouldn't stitch all of it, but I kind of want to stitch all of it. So I better get started. Okay, so that is my haul. And now, I've lost my list. I need my list. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what I stitched. So, on October 31st, not October 31st, October 1st, the start of Dark October stitching, I decided to comfort myself with starting something new, of course. So, this is my my project bag, one of my few project bags. My friend Carla Eldridge made this one, and I bought it off of her Etsy shop, and I love it. And, do I not have the picture? I managed to not bring the picture of this. Okay, I'm just going to have to show you a picture of the finished project, because apparently my picture is sitting out there. So here's a picture of the finished project. And I did a lot. This is at the time where I was real stressed out and I wasn't stitching every day. But when I did stitch, I stitched on this, and this is how far I got. So I got the pumpkin completed, and I got a start on the owl, and I got a lot of the leaves in. And so, you know, this, I would say this is probably a good half done. There's the owl to do, which is not insignificant. And then there's like this trick or treat thing over here, a sign. And, but I got a good number of the leaves, and I got the pumpkin done, and the pumpkin is like the biggest thing. This is stitched in All Weeks Dye Works. And yeah, and it's Glendon Place, which I love. It's called Who's There? So it's a really good pattern. And so I stitched on that for the first few weeks of October, and I wasn't stitching every day. If I had been stitching every day, I would have had it finished. So, because this is not that big of a project. But I just was not in great shape. Not super motivated. Wasting a lot of time. Let my brain go places that it shouldn't have gone. When I finally kind of burned out on that and decided I needed to stitch something else, well, let's be honest, I kind of also felt like I didn't want to just have like one thing to show for Dark October, so I drug myself away from that. But I still needed, I needed stuff that was sort of easy. And so I got out, the first thing I got out was my Doreen Jones, I think it's just called Spooky Halloween. Here's a picture of it right now when it's finished, and here's where I got to. Oh, I will show you a picture of where it was before, and here is where I got to. So it's just 310, and I have my big cone of 310, so that for me makes it like an easy thing to work on, because I don't have a bunch of threads to look at and switch. And it's not just 310. The whole thing is there will be a couple of colors, like 3 more colors, probably in weeks. They give you a couple of different options for fancy flosses to use, but I don't have those. And plus, my plan is going to be to stitch all of the 310 and then do those details. So right now it qualifies as a very simple project, because I just get out my cone of 310 in it. Next, I have it's a mandala by Ink Circles. Here's a picture of the finished project. I've forgotten what it's called, but it's one of their Halloween mandalas. And this is the one that I am doing. I'm going to do it twice. I'm doing it 1/1 in 310 on fabric I dyed myself, and I'm going to do it twice and turn it into an amazing biscornu. But here's where it was when last you saw it, and here I am now. You know, respectable progress, not huge. But again, I just wasn't very motivated. So then towards the tail end of at the tail end of October, sorry, it's finally kind of coming out of my doldrums. And I did kind of a big crochet project. I mean, not big, but significant crochet project. And so I spent some time on that. Then in November, so usually in November and December, I kind of try to finish as many projects as possible. Like in the last couple of years, I have taken November and December and I have looked at things that are closest to completion and thought, what can I finish? How can I get finishes in before the end of the year? And this year I decided to do something differently. I decided to work on some things that have not been touched yet this year. So this November and December, I'm going to try to focus on things that have not yet been touched. So I have worked on 2 things. And my goal is to at least put 1,000 stitches in on these things so that they get some significant progress. And so far, it's November 11th and I haven't stitched today. So in the first 10 days of November, I have stitched on two projects, both of which have not been touched at all in 2018. So the first one I got out was my Beagles. And I'm not going to show you a picture of where it was before, because I did do 1,000 stitches, which is progress, good progress, but it's like boring stuff. So I'll just describe it to you. So here we have my lovely beagles. I did not work really any on the beagles themselves during this time. What I did was I basically finished one page of the pattern. This stuff over here is done. Like, this is a smaller page. And so I have a significant amount of this page left to do. And what I got done was a lot of stitches in here. Like a few stitches up here in the suitcase, or like over here. There's a few stitches still not done in the suitcase. And then a lot of like this. So kind of boring, but important. So, and I did do basically 1,000 stitches. So significant progress. And then I set it aside, got out something, and I haven't quite finished the 1,000 stitches on this one. I will, though, before I put it away, probably tonight. I've done about 800 or so stitches on this project since I got it out. Here is a picture of the finished project, Gracious Era. It's a Dimensions Gold collection. Oh, that one was a realist kit, if you are new here. Here's a picture of where it was when last you saw it. And here it is now. So I'm just kind of working my way right. So I made some progress on this lady here. She didn't have any of that green in her before. And the rest of the progress I made was like along here in sort of this boring, mostly half stitching stuff along the walls of the shops. So, and I want to say there is one super annoying thing about this project, and it has screwed me up multiple times. It tends to screw me up every time I get it out because I've forgotten that it has this annoying thing about it. There are, you don't want to do this if you're colorblind. There are at least two symbols in here, two pairs of symbols that are basically the same symbol in a different color. They have used, I'm going to show a piece of the pattern. Don't shoot me. But there's a green triangle and a blue triangle, and they're like right next to each other. So in this area of trees, I don't know if you can see it very well yet. I don't know if you can see it. But there are, in that area of trees, there are green triangles and blue triangles, and they're like very close in color, and they're right next to each other, and you have to look really hard and use a good light to even tell the difference between the green triangles and the blue triangles. So it's very easy to stitch the wrong color and to waste thread, because then you have to cut things out. And there's at least one other symbol that does the same thing. There might be more than one other, but there's at least one other symbol that it is also like this. It's a green square with a line through it, and it's the exact same symbol, but in blue with a line through it. And they're right next to each other. And it's terrible. So it really pisses me off. Oh, I am doing this on my own fabric. It's Ariel by Picture This Plus, 36 count, instead of the crappy too small fabric that came with the kit. Alright, so that is all of the cross stitching I have worked on in the last like 6 weeks. Not a lot, it's only five projects, but you know, not insignificant progress. But I didn't stitch every day. For me, I just didn't stitch that much. So let's see. Let's talk about crochet very briefly. I don't want to turn this into the crochet channel. So like I've got 3 projects going right now, and I'm not going to talk about any of those, but I'm going to talk about things as I finish them. And I have finished this. This is my Christmas scarf. So let's see. I got this pattern for free off of Yarnspirations, and I did not use it all the recommended floss they were calling for, but it is but I got the pattern itself for free, and otherwise I did it exactly how they said. I just didn't use the yarn they suggested. And it is a scarf. It's a big Christmas scarf. I'll put it on for you and show you in just a minute. But and I used cotton. I want to say the brand is Sugar and Spice, and it's like cotton worsted weight, which was really fun. It's a very different texture from like the acrylic and from the wool that I've used, so it's kind of fun using the cotton. And what was different for me in this is that this was stitched lengthwise. So like instead of, usually a scarf you like, go row by row like that. Well, this is stitched this way. So that was really fun for me. It's basically about 16 rows. It's 14 rows plus I think this like the starting row and the ending row. So it only took me a few days, although I worked pretty like nonstop on it for those few days because I was feeling some motivation. So so I worked on that, and it's big and I love it, and it's the first time I've done fringe on a scarf. So let's see if I can get it wrapped around me. So it's warm and big and I'm in love with it, and I'm like waiting till like Thanksgiving to wear it out in public. So yeah, I absolutely love it, and it's a great pattern too. So I actually wanted to make a scarf in this pattern for my husband, but he didn't like it. He's like, I don't want something that's that like dimensional. Like I like the textured part of it. He didn't like the textured part of it. He wanted something flat. So I'm actually currently working on a scarf for him in a pattern that was approved by him, but he didn't want this. But I love this thing. The fringe kind of makes me nervous. It's not as neat and tidy as I want it to be, but that's okay, I think. Yeah, first time I've done fringe. So yeah, I really love it. I can't wait to be able to wear this like to work as it's like Christmas time. So and there are several other crocheters at my work, so it's kind of fun to come in wearing the new thing I made. So okay, so that is all the I want to keep it on. So that is all the crocheting I'm going to show. I bought some tools and things like that. So, but like I said, I don't want this to become like the crochet channel, so I won't talk too much about that. Next, it's been requested that I talk some about Alaska, and I did have a friend of mine actually ask me a question, and shoot, I should have written it down, but basically her question was, are there things that is more difficult to get in Alaska as opposed to the lower 48? And I would say absolutely. The short answer to that is a resounding yes. Everything, generally speaking, everything is more expensive here. Most everything has to be shipped in. We have we don't have that much farming or manufacturing, so most everything is coming from the lower 48, coming from outside. It is getting better because things like Amazon, unfortunately, are a godsend to places like Alaska and other remote places. I didn't grow up in Alaska. I grew up in California, so totally different. But my people who grew up here and like from decades past, like they did a lot of like mail order for clothing and stuff. There wasn't a lot of for a lot of places in Alaska. Maybe some place like Anchorage being the exception, but many communities in Alaska didn't have a lot of stores they could go to buy things, and there was a lot of mail ordering going on for things like clothing and stuff like that, and a lot of that has gotten better, and certainly ordering online with the internet has really opened things up. But food, like fresh food, like fresh produce and stuff like that, we just don't have a lot of it here, and the quality of it is not quite as good, and most everything has to be frozen to come up here, and it's all the produce and stuff is just more expensive and not as good. We can still get like the organic stuff. It just costs us more, and it's not as good because by the time it gets to us, it's older and it's often been frozen, and the price is higher. And because all of that like extra expense is passed on to us. And That's one thing I notice and luxuriate in when I am in the lower 48 for vacation, etc. Is just being able to like go to a farmer's market, or even not a farmer's market, just to the local grocery store and get a bigger variety of fresher produce for a much better price. And here it's just not as good. I remember when I first moved up here, I was like appalled. Yeah, when I lived in Fairbanks, I came straight from California, and one of the things I loved eating when I was growing up was Calavo avocados. I kind of lived on them when I was growing up, and the avocados here are a lot more expensive, and it's really hit or miss to get good ones. So it's just not. They're just not as good. I tend to these days, instead of buying fresh avocados, which can be hit or miss and a big waste of money, I end up at Costco and I buy their like big multi-packs of guacamole, which are in these little like single serving packs, and they're pretty good quality. So I buy those because it's reliable quality, as opposed to like opening up an avocado that you think is going to be good and you open it up and it's like basically trash and you've just wasted $5 on it. and also Costco carries like these little like single serving packs of just straight up smashed avocado, and all of that stuff is reliable quality. I certainly don't enjoy it as much as I would buying, just going into a store and getting a good avocado and making my own whatever with it. But it costs less and it's more reliable. Just stuff like that. I belong to Full Circle Farm, which is a, what do you call it? I forget what you call it, but they're in the lower 48 and they ship farm boxes of produce up to Alaska, and this stuff is better quality in a lot of cases than what I can get here. It's all organic, and I pay too much for it. And but I can get some things from them that I can't get. They also have some things that I can, as part of this co-op or whatever you call it. It's not a co-op. I forget what it's called. Anyway, the name is escaping me. But as part of this thing, they also have stuff that I can order, like meats and things that I can order sent up in this box that I pay extra for, and it's not insignificant, the cost. But it's stuff I can't even get here, like brands of things I just can't get here at all, that I can get them to send me in my box, and I pay through the nose for it. But it's worth it because I'm a person who feels like, because we have enough money, I'm willing and able to pay through the nose for good quality and variety of food. And just living here, I'm limited what I can actually procure locally, and so I use the service like Full Circle Farm to get stuff that I can't get otherwise, and I pay a whole lot for it. So because they have to fly that stuff up here, and it and all of that cost has to be passed on to the consumer. So it's rough. As far as other things are concerned, we have limited. We have Fred Meyer. We have Costco. I'm thinking of like things like clothing. We have a Fred Meyer and we have Costco. And we have a couple of like local places that you can buy clothing, like consignment shops and stuff like that. But basically we have Fred Meyer and Costco. And then we have a couple of like outdoor outfitter type places, because this is Alaska. So we have several in this town. We have several places that are meant to buy like stuff for hunters, fishers, skiers, etc. And that stuff's pretty expensive, but it's not general clothing. As far as general clothing is concerned, we've got a couple of thrift stores, and we have Fred Meyer, and we have Costco. So people who really care about their clothing tend to order online, And otherwise everybody else, we all walk around looking the same. Like, oh yeah, you got that at Costco. Because I bought one of those in a different color just this weekend, you know. Costco and Fred Meyer. In fact, I buy almost all of my shirts come from Costco. And I buy the occasional shirt from Fred Meyer. And my jeans I buy online. We used to have a Walmart here, but Walmart died here. And which was not a huge surprise. But I won't get into that. But they didn't survive here. And they were here for a few years and they didn't get much business. They had this giant parking lot and it was always empty. And I'm sorry, that does my heart a little bit good. But I would get my jeans from Walmart because I don't need expensive designer jeans in there. There was a brand there that worked for me and I can't get them there anymore. So I order them online. And as far as ordering online is concerned, generally speaking, it costs us more and we wait longer. There are plenty of stores that just flat out won't ship to Alaska, and many others who will, but you pay more. Or like the threshold to get free shipping is much higher than it is for anybody in the lower 48. For instance, I order from this company called Vitacost.com because they have a lot of good products that I can't get here or are way too expensive here. I do try to support local business as much as possible, but there's a lot of stuff I just flat out can't get here, and I like to use good quality products. I like to use healthy things. I like to eat good quality things where the ingredients are simple and not necessarily all organic, but where it's not a lot of like artificial this and stuff like that in it. And so I order from a company called Vitacost, and Vitacost normally, if you hit a certain amount of money, it's free shipping anywhere, in the United States except for Alaska and presumably Hawaii. And but they're pretty good to Alaska. Their flat shipping to Alaska is $10. So when I order from them, I want to make it worth that $10 shipping, so I usually order at least $100 worth of stuff. But so like where somebody else in the lower 48 could order much less and get free shipping, I have to pay $10. Amazon, we can often get free shipping. It takes longer to get up here to Alaska. And I've been ordering some things for my son who lives in Boise, and the free shipping to him, it's like they're the next day. And for me, I might wait 2 weeks. So it's a big difference. And there's a lot of things that just simply won't ship to Alaska. Like for some weird unknown reason, and sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's not even that you have to pay more or anything like that. They just flat out won't ship to Alaska. And so, sometimes you're just dealing with a company and they're like, yeah, we just don't ship to Alaska. That's too much trouble. That's too much money. And there's a lot of companies that are like, well, we will only ship UPS. And where I live in Alaska, and I think it's true of most places in Alaska, basically there's no ground. So if you're a company and you're like, we're only shipping UPS, and you're passing that full cost onto the consumer, sometimes that cost is very significant. If you're just not willing to use the post office and not willing to eat any of the cost yourself as the seller, it gets very expensive for people living up here. So anyway, I think that's enough. I think you get the idea. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we can't get. And there's a lot of stuff that is more expensive to get, and it is limiting in that way. We intend to live in the lower 48 at sometime in the next several years, and I'm really looking forward to being able to drive to a farmer's market and just to be able to get things, more variety for cheaper, that's something I really miss about living in the lower 48 is the availability of things and the cheapness of things. Shipping up here it's expensive, And I don't blame stores that, you know, need to pass that cost onto the consumer, but it does make it significantly more expensive to live in a place like this. So anyway, I think that basically answers that question. If you want any clarification, or if you have any questions about any of what I just said, please ask. You should know that the area I live in Juneau, Alaska, is it's part of the mainland, but there are no roads out of here. So the only way to get out of here is by boat or airplane. And we have basically one airline. We have Alaska Airlines, so they basically have a monopoly. During the summer, Delta comes in, and that helps drive prices down because there's a little competition in the summer. But all year long, there's one airline. And what else was I going to say? Oh, and then we have our ferry system, which isn't cheap, but used to be cheaper, and is sort of dying because it's expensive, and a lot of the funding has been cut to it, and there's a whole like political thing going on with that right now. But we have a lot of, I'm fortunate that we live in a community that is fairly well served, but there are some outlying communities that have heavily depended on the Alaska Marine Highway System. That's our ferry system. Have heavily depend on that system to get supplies, to travel where they need to. A lot of times people will live in an outlying community, and every few months they will like travel to someplace like Juneau, and they will go to Costco, and they will go to Fred Meyer, and they will like stock up, and then they will put their truck back on the ferry and go back home, and that's how they survive. And it's really necessary to them, and for their survival to have that. And now there are communities right now that the ferry system is not going to at all, that they did until just now, or they aren't going to go, or the ferry system won't be going there for several months. So those communities are really going to be they're really going to be hurting. It's like basically having your road cut off. All of a sudden they said, you know what, it's too much money to maintain this road for you, so nobody can travel on this road. That's what it's like. So it's really scary. And we have a governor right now who, oh wow, I wasn't going to do this, but whatever. We have a governor right now who considers himself a mini Trump. He's really emulating Donald Trump, and he is doing some really scary things. He's attempting to do some really scary things. He has been thwarted in some of his attempts, thankfully, because of some legislators here who actually have stood up and put statesmanship over their party affiliation, and have stopped some of the more dramatic things he has tried to do. But it's kind of a scary time for Alaska, and for our educational system, and some of our services, and for the people of our state who are in a more precarious position. I mean, Anton and I are pretty well protected. Our life is pretty good, and we've got a lot of buffer, but there are a lot of people who don't, and those people are very much being impacted by the choices that our current governor is making, and it's really pretty frightening for them. So anyway, so enough of that. That went places I didn't intend to go, but anyway, if you have any more questions, please ask me some questions, and I will talk some more about life in Alaska. Okay, so I read several books this past several weeks. I'm not going to talk too long about them because this already is getting to be kind of a long video, and I still need to do my drawing, so stick around because I'm going to do my drawing. I read I read Jacob Have I Loved. This is a reread for me. This is interesting. It's a kid's book, and quite a famous kids book. And Jacob Have I Loved, the title comes from the Bible, and it's basically about two brothers that God favored one of them, and one of them he basically left to suffer. And the idea of this book is it is the story of a young girl whose sister is basically gets everything, and she feels like she doesn't get everything, and she has it hard and is less loved, and stuff like that. And what's funny is I had read this book as a kid, and when I read this book, I thought, oh, this sister, who's supposed to be Jacob, this sister is a terrible person, and this poor girl, like, she works so hard and nobody loves her, and I was really sympathizing with the underdog, what I thought was the underdog. But when I read it as an adult, I had a very different perspective on it. So basically, like, I didn't think the sister was so bad or was at fault for the hardships of and I thought, you need to just grow up, put on your big girl panties, and make decisions and do for yourself, and stop expecting the world to, like, hand you things. And but anyway, it was good. Oh, excuse me. I enjoyed it very much, and well worth reading again. I also read The Omen, from the movie The Omen. I read the original, The Omen, and that was good. Very, a little bit dated, but very good. Very well worth reading. If you like the movie, definitely check out that book if you haven't. I also read Black House, which is a murder mystery. I didn't enjoy it that much. It's kind of mediocre. It's the first of a series, and I might read a further one to see if it gets any better, but because the end gave me some hope that there might be something better coming. The writing was good. It just wasn't as much of a mystery as I thought it should be. I read The Institute by Stephen King, his brand new one, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. I find that there are a couple of different Stephen King styles. Like, he has his books that I like, and he has his books that I don't like. And his books that I don't like are things like Misery and Gerald's Game. Like, one person going through horrible things and torture and, lots of disturbing stuff. And then he has his books like Needful Things, for example, where you're in kind of a small town or an interesting setting, and you have lots of interesting characters and people to root for, and relationships and stuff like that you can get behind, and sort of a spooky atmosphere, as opposed to like an atmosphere of like torture and stuff like that. This book had both. But I enjoyed it quite a lot. It had enough of the kind of Stephen King story that I like, that I was able to enjoy it quite a bit. So I recommend that one. And then I read a book called Hex, which was real unusual. I can't remember the name of the author on that. Let me show you a picture of the cover of that one. This is a newer book. Here it is. It was originally written in Dutch, and it wasn't just translated for English and reprinted. It was rewritten. The author rewrote it for the United States. So it's set in the United States, and it's a fascinating story. It's about a town in the United States that is kind of cut off from the world, in that the people who live in this town have chosen to live in this town. This town is like ruled by a witch, sort of the ghost of a witch. Not really a ghost because she's solid, but the town is sort of ruled by this supernatural being. And basically, if you live in this town, once you live in this town, you come under her power, and you can't move out. You can go on vacations, you can work outside of town, etc., but you have to come home, because if you stay out of this town for very long, you will want to kill yourself. Literally want to kill yourself. And so everybody has to stay under her power. And which is a very interesting premise. Like, the town has like this town council, and they try to discourage people from moving into the town. But they don't stop them entirely, but they try to discourage people from moving into the town. Like, the book starts off and like this new couple is trying to move into town, and these people from the town kind of get together and try to like intimidate this couple from moving here. And they're like, well, leave us be. We're gonna, you know, they try to pay them. They try to do whatever they can to get this couple to not move into this town. And the couple does it anyway. And then it has to be explained to them, well, now you're stuck. And anyway, it is a really interesting story. It has a very dark and upsetting ending. I really could have lived without the ending. But, you know, horror stories often end in unpleasant ways. And I really liked it. And that is called Hex. So, well worth reading. Okay, so that's all the reading. And let me do my drawing. Last time I did a video, I had finished Both the Threads Wizard of Oz. And I am giving away the pattern and also the red metallic thread that came with the pattern, because I did not use the red metallic thread. I did it all in silver metallics, and I had you guys tell me red or silver just to let me know you wanted to be involved in the drawing. And so I have the slips of paper with people's names on it in here. I do this the old-fashioned way. And here we go. I have one name here in my hand. And so if you told me you wanted red or silver, or ruby or silver, or whatever, I did read all the comments. I put your name in the hat, and I'm going to send you the red metallic thread, whatever you said in your comment, because it doesn't take up any space. So, Christy Donnet is the winner. So, Christy, I will comment on your comment. And if you contact me, you can, if I don't comment on your comment immediately, you can contact me. You can instant message me via, probably the easiest way is if you're on Instagram. Contact me via Instagram. I don't know if we're connected via Facebook, but I will try to contact you. And if I don't manage that, please contact me. Send me your address, Christy Donnet, and I will get this mailed out to you wherever you are in the world. You will get the pattern and the metallic threads, and I hope you enjoy stitching that as much as I did. So I guess that is everything. Not too bad. I rambled a bit, but it's still just under an hour. I love you all, and I will see you next time. Hopefully it won't be so long. Hopefully in just a couple of weeks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.